What's up, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about breaking down public hunting areas, and we're getting started right now. Alright, what's up, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. And like I said, today we're going to be talking about breaking down public hunting areas. Now, if this is your first time watching me, please consider hitting the subscribe button, tapping the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. If you like today's video, smash that thumbs up button for me. It really helps me out a lot when you do that. Now, if you missed a video that I did a couple weeks ago called How to Be a Better Public Land Duck Hunter, you really might want to start there. Watch that video first and then come back here. So if you missed that video, I'll drop a link up here. Be sure to click that link, watch that video first, and then come back here, because that's part one to this little video series I'm doing, and today's video will be part two. If you watched the first video already, then you already know what we established in that video was our location, where we're going. Is it a new state? Is it a new area in your state that you live in, somewhere you've never been before? Or maybe it's just a place that you typically hunt a few times a year, but you just want to know more information about it. So we've got our location established. We got that in the last video. Now, how are we going to get the information about this location? Well, are we going to get it from on X? Are we going to get it from the state websites? So that's what we determined in last video. Now that we've got all that stuff down, we've got our location, we've got our information from Onyx, we got it from the state websites, public atlases, those sorts of things. We've got the area figured out. We know kind of where the public land is, how to get to it, you know, travel wise, by, you know, how to get there, you know, by road. But now, all right, now the first thing that I'm going to do once I've got all of that stuff figured out, the first thing I'm going to do is, how do I get there? Now, what I mean by that is, how do I access the public land? Is it walk-in only? Can I take an ATV? Is it boat-in only? Or is it all three? Or is it both? Is it walk-in only? Or is it accessible by river? Does the river run down the side of it where you could pull up, tie off your boat, unload your gear, and walk in that way? I've hunted both. I've hunted some that was walk-in only, and I've hunted some that you could walk in or you could access by river just to kind of cut down your walk. So you need to know this. How am I going to get there? Now, I know that don't apply to everybody. Everybody doesn't have a boat, or everybody doesn't have an ATV, and you have to walk in. And if that's what you have to do, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I do it a lot myself. So now, once I've established that, how am I going to get there? I'm going to look at that on the map, on Onyx, and usually what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go out there on foot first, and I'm just going to walk that public ground. I'm going to check it out, and then if the river is nearby, then I'm going to look at it. Okay, well, if I come in by boat, I can park here and I can cut down half of my walk, that sort of thing. Or you never know, it could be too thick. You may not be able to get through there. It may be better or easier, more accessible to just walk in down the path or road or whatever's there. So now we got that established. How are we going to get there? Now, the second thing I want to know about this public ground, and you're really going to get this by walking. You're really going to get this information by being on foot, unless it's you know, like a backwater slough or lake or swamp, something like that. That, you know, maybe then you can get this information by boat, if it's a boat-in only type place. But what are the food sources? What is there? What does this hole have to offer the birds? Is it moist soil habitat? Is it flooded corn? Is it flooded millet? Is it rye? What is it? We want to know what this stuff is. We want to know what's out there, because the food sources is going to determine when this hole is really going to shine. So you may or may not know this, but a duck's diet is really based upon the weather at that time and what's coming. When they feel a good cold front coming, they're going to be loading up on carbs, and they're going to be getting those carbs from corn, soybeans, rye, maybe a little bit of rice, millet, those type things. That's where they're going to be getting those carbs from, grain. Okay, so now with that being said, if it's a moist soil marsh or moist soil hole, then out there you're going to be having your wild millets, your barnyard grass, your springle top, maybe some Japanese millet, your smart weed, those type of things. Now, not only will those grasses and those things be there, but you're also going to have a lot of bugs. Okay, and bugs get overlooked a lot when it comes to food sources, because I mean, most of us really don't know much about them, right? You know, as a hunter, we don't know much about the different types of bugs and the invertebrates and things like that the ducks are feeding on, but we know that in moist soil habitat, that is a bug-rich environment, because there's so much to offer a duck or waterfowl in general in a moist soil habitat. Plenty of seeds, natural grasses, millets, and you know, some of your state departments will actually disc and plant some things. You know, they pull the water off so the smart weed can flourish. They may put a little bit of millet out there. Some of it they may plant in corn and then flood it, and then the rest of it may be moist soil habitat. So you could have a combination of both there, but you won't know this unless you go out there and put eyes on the hole and see what's there. Because you go out there and you see plenty of moist soil habitat, with, you know, right then, all right, I've got a lot of natural grasses out here, which is a food source, and I'm also going to have a lot of bugs and invertebrates, which is a great food source as well. So you need to know what's there. So find out how to get there, and then once you get there, find out what the food sources are and what that hole has to offer the birds. Now, once I've determined those two things, how I'm going to get there and what the food sources are, the next thing that I'm really going to focus on and put a lot of effort into is, how will I hide? Guys, this is a big one, because I know I'm guilty of it. I have been scouted some places before, and I kind of got overwhelmed by maybe the amount of ducks that were there, the amount of food sources that were there. I get a little caught up in, oh my gosh, I'm seeing so many birds. They're just pouring in from every direction, and I'm like, man, we got to ease out of here. Let's don't bump them. Let's get out of here. We'll be right here in the morning. And I didn't take any consideration about where I was going to hide. Just kind of got caught up in the moment, got excited, and now I get there the next morning. You know, I'm there an hour or two before daylight or whatever it may be, and I'm trying to figure out how in the world I'm going to hide, because the grass is not even waist high. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So don't be that guy, because I've been there before, so don't do that. But how will I hide? That's a big one. You need to know this. Is there tall grasses for you to tuck back in? Do you need to bring a layout blind? Do you need to bring a layout boat in there? Do you need to try to bring an A-frame, panel blinds? Guys, this is a big one, because I mean, you could be sitting on the X, the best hole out there, but if you can't hide, you ain't gonna kill them. That's just what it comes down to. So you have got to find out how you're going to hide, so that when you get there to the hole the next morning, you've got the things you need. You've got your layout blinds packed in, or your panel blinds on the sled, A-frame rolled up and put in the sled, whatever it may be. You've got all of this stuff beforehand, so you get there, you're ready to go. Also, when it comes to determining how will I hide, take into consideration where you can hide depending on the wind. You know, have multiple locations in mind depending on what the wind may be doing. If it's a north wind, northeast, northwest, if it's a west wind, south wind, east wind, whatever it may be, try to have multiple locations picked out that's where you can hide given any wind on any day. Another thing to think about when it comes to your hide is, all right, if I'm going to hide in this particular location, where is the sun? Is it in my face? Is it to my immediate right, immediate left? Is it behind me? Where is the sun? Because I mean, guys, we all know nobody wants to set up facing directly into the sun, especially on a clear bluebird day. That is just the worst. You know, but sometimes, depending on the wind, that's really all you can do. And if you have to set up facing into the sun, sometimes that's just how it is. And we've all been there. Sometimes you just can't help it. But nobody likes that. But that's another thing to keep in mind when looking at your possible hides, is where's that sun going to be? Because it's going to be blinding you if you got to look into it. Not only that, on a clear bluebird day, if you're not hid very good and you're looking into that sun, it's really, really going to expose you. So, got to think about that. Now, one other thing that you may have to consider, depending on your state or wherever you may be doing your scouting and your hunting at, is your legal requirements. Some states require you to check in through an app and to check out when you leave, report your harvest and those type of things. And when it comes to those type places, you have to log in and document where you were, the name of that marsh or that particular wildlife management area. So that's just another thing to think about. Make sure you do your research on that state to see if they have those legal requirements for you to be checked in, checked out, report your harvest, as well as document where you were hunting at in relation to the state land. So I hope these tips will help you out when it comes to your scouting and breaking down new areas when on public ground. I know this process, this is what I do every single time, regardless of what state I'm in. My strategy never changes. This is what I do. This is how I do it. It works for me. It'll work for you. It takes a little bit of time, a little bit of research, but you can do it. It's not hard. Pick your location, get the information about that location, and then get ready to go put boots on the ground, eyes on the hole, and take these steps. How to get there. What are the food sources? How will I hide? And what are, if any, are the legal requirements when I arrive at the public ground? So I hope these tips will help you out, guys. If you like today's video, please smash that thumbs up button for me. It really helps me out a lot when you do that. Hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. And that's all I've got for you this week, guys. So until next time, y'all bust them up.